Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I decided to film a Studio Ghibli themed monthly in my bullet journal, and yeah, I was super excited. So I decided to just film it. So here I am sketching out. I found a scene of Mei lying down on Totoro on Pinterest, and it's actually one of my favorite scenes from the movie. So I wanted to I kind of draw it and put it in my monthly spread. So I'm planning horizontally in this bullet journal for this spread just because he's lying down, so I decided to flip my notebook sideways. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, so here I am just sketching out. Definitely turn to Pinterest for inspiration. And if you wanted to paint a different scene or draw out something different, definitely can. But basically, I decided to sketch out the image first and then to work on the calendar part second because I could always erase lines after. I wanted to have this image in the forefront and then the calendar kind of behind it. So yeah, I'm just using a HB pencil here, just lightly sketching out my outlines, and we'll prepare for the watercolor part next. I'm using Winsor and Newton watercolors today. This is one of my Hobonichi stencils that I'm using to kind of just outline the calendar itself, almost as a ruler in this case. And then I decided instead of putting August as a header that I would switch over and write the letters of the days of the week on top, just because there wasn't a ton of room and August has 31 days, so I decided to kind of space it out that way. So I wrote out Sunday through Saturday and then all the corresponding dates. And then I decided I needed to put August somewhere in the spread, so I decided since there was like a larger empty space that the lower right hand corner would be perfect. I'm using this kind of kneaded eraser, which is great because it actually doesn't leave any residual dust or eraser marks on the page. So I really, really recommend that one if you're looking for a good eraser. You can get it at Michael's, Amazon, any of your craft stores. So here I am using a kind of a light gray color. I think it's like a Payne's gray actually, from my Winsor Newton set, and just kind of coloring in. I noticed with watercolors, you sort of have to build on the colors. So you'll start out with kind of like the lighter shades first, and then after that dries, you can go back in and highlight or add contrast to different areas. But here I am just painting in her skin tone. And then I think I go into, yeah, I try to use all the colors that are being painted at once. So, like her face, arms, legs. And then I switched over to her dress. And the accent color for her dress I ended up using in the August on the lower right hand side, along with the banner up top, just to kind of make it a more cohesive painting or spread. And I'm using a notebook from the Notebook Therapy on Instagram. They sent it to me, and actually it holds up pretty well with watercolor. The page above it, you can kind of see a little bit of ghosting, but I didn't really do a video of that one, but it's on my Instagram page if you wanted to check out sort of the August title page. That one I also used watercolor on, and you can see that the page does not look too rippled or bent, which is pretty impressive considering I used a decent amount of water on the watercoloring portion. So now I'm just layering with the same color gray, but because it's going on a dried layer, it looks slightly darker and gives a nice little contrast there. There's a lot of brush strokes in this, which I wasn't super happy about. Could have gone in with a wet and wet technique where I went in first. If I go in with water and then putting the gray on top, you kind of get a smoother appearance, but then I was a little hesitant considering this isn't necessarily watercolor paper, and I wasn't sure how it would react to like tons and tons of water, so I decided I would just stick with some of the streaks. That was okay with me. On the left there is my iPad. I have my reference image from Pinterest that I said I was using, and all of this Studio Ghibli themed bullet journal for August was inspired by Amanda Rach Lee. You guys, I'm sure, watch her on Instagram or her YouTube videos. They're really amazing. And so yeah, just after I saw her August, I was like, oh my gosh, I really want to do Studio Ghibli theme as well. So that inspired me to look up images on Pinterest. But here I am adding more contrast to her face and her legs and arms. Just because she's lying down, there's a bit of a shadow from Totoro's chin, I guess, onto her body and face. So I added kind of the shadowing there. And yeah, I just kind of painting. Oh, this is pulling in some of the paint from her dress color to kind of tie in the whole piece together. And as you can see, it's pretty light. I think I have to go back and add in a little bit more. I think I do that later on in the video. So yep, just painting in the August here. And for watercolor, I'm not that exact, specifically for this piece in terms of where I'm painting, because I know in my head I plan to outline with a Pigma Micron pen. So kind of going through it a little bit faster, but this video is fast forwarded to make it a little bit shorter. So the real time painting stroke, it's like a little bit slower, but you can see kind of the process here. This next part is probably one of my favorite parts of any kind of spread or watercolor piece, is kind of like outlining the image and making it nice and crisp and clean. And so I'm just taking my time, making sure the lines are where I want them to be, just because this is a little bit darker and more permanent. So you want to make sure your lines are as exact as you can be. It's always a little sad when I do a piece and I spend all this time on the coloring and then I get to the lining and I mess up on the lines, especially around the face, because I think each stroke can really change the expression on whatever I'm drawing. So try and really take my time around the face and face shape. So just sketching or drawing around the hairline and getting all those details in. I think it really brings the piece together when you outline it, whether you outline in watercolor or a pen like I am. I much prefer pen if I can, just because I feel like I have much more control, but you can use a fine brush tip and go in with watercolor as well. It does give a very natural appearance if you decide to go that route. So here I'm using one of my Hobonichi stencils as sort of a ruler, just because that's what I had on hand, to mark off the August box here. And I do suggest outlining the banner first and then drawing the calendar box behind it, just because you can see I kind of made the lines slightly more narrow compared to the banner box to look like the banner was sitting on top of the calendar. Gives that small illusion there. So here I am just outlining my headers and then going in through the numbers. And I don't actually think I included the erasing part, but after this ink was dry, I went in with my kneaded eraser and went through and erased all of my pencil marks as much as I could. To add a little bit of a shadow to the block lettering here, I went in and did sort of an outline to the left of my lines, and then I went in and shaded them in to give more depth to the lettering. I realized that my painting was starting to look a little flat, so I went in with another layer of watercolor and tried to make certain parts pop. And I think I didn't do this in the video, but I'm going to go in and probably darken the header banner just to make that pop a little bit more as well. I think it was a little bit flat looking here, looking back, and yeah, I'll probably make it a little bit darker on top. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this paint with me session in my bullet journal. Um, Slightly different than my usual videos. I'm using more kind of illustration now, but I think it's kind of a nice change and maybe fresh new start to August. But yeah, if you guys recreate your or this image in your bullet journals, I'd love to see. Please tag me on Instagram at Beauty by Starlet. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. If you have any suggestions of future videos, just leave a comment down below. Thanks.